That was a Martin Luther King song, and he talked about going to the mountaintop during difficult times when things were so confusing and up-leveled and hard to make sense of. He would go to the mountaintop. It's not a place on a map. The mountaintop, metaphorically, metaphysically, means going to that place that's special and unique for all of us, where we meet spirit, where we commune with God, with love, with creative intelligence, with divinity, where we get refreshed and renewed. And when you go to the mountaintop, you can see a much clearer perspective. You know, when we're down here, we get so pulled in and attracted by material things, by the appearance of things. We think that's the truth, forgetting that everything begins in the invisible. Everything starts with an idea, a belief, a thought, something, the creative energy of the spirit within us and in the world, and then it comes into form. So when we go to the mountaintop, as Jesus and Moses and many of the ancient prophets did in their own way, it's about getting to that place where we can hear, as Gretchen was singing, that still small voice that says, all is well, all is well. We can hear that and know it. But we have to get to that place where we can unhook ourselves from the life right here to find the place to renew. Now, I need to tell you something else. When these spiritual beings have been to the mountaintop, they had to make a commitment to go there and to be receptive and willing to listen, and then to take in and be transformed or reminded or renewed by what they hear, and then go back and serve, go back and share their gifts, because that's really what life is all about. When we can unhook from that thing called fear that can build a wall or a detour from the mountain, you know, where we don't see the bigger perspective, the bigness, the goodness. God's already given us everything we need. But we're here on a path of self-discovery, of learning. So we need to recognize it and accept it and know it. So this journey from fear to faith, number one, we have to recognize where we're fearful. And let me tell you a little bit about fear. Fear, Ernest Holmes says, fear is a kind of faith. It's a faith in the wrong direction. So if you know that, it's a faith in limitation and lack and danger. It's when you hear, oh, something bad's going to happen. The other shoe's going to fall. I know it. I just know it. And then fear says, you're right, and you're not going to be able to handle it because you don't have enough, you're not good enough. That's fear talking. That's not what we know as the spiritual truth of each and every one of us. We would not be here right now if God didn't need us. God needs us to be its hands, its heart, needs us to speak its words and tell its truth and share its love. That's why we're here, and we need to remember that. So remember the mountaintop, wherever that is for you, it's where you reconnect with spirit. When we feel faith, we can't feel fear and faith at the same time. But when we feel the fear, it doesn't have to be the enemy at all. I'm going to say that again. Fear does not have to be the enemy. Will you say it back to me? Fear does not have to be the enemy. It can be the messenger. Thank you. It can remind us that we need to reconnect. There's something in our life where we've disconnected from what we are. We are spiritual, first and foremost. And we're here having this human experience to grow, to discover, to expand, to recognize, and to know. That's why we're here. But we've disconnected in some way. Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of my very favorite quotes, says, you need to hook your earthly wagon to a star. That's the mountain he's talking about, to something greater, brighter, the light of goodness that's always shining. It's never not. We're the ones that aren't connected. We're the ones that forget who we are. We're the ones who need to remember. This is what Ernest Holmes says about fear. First of all, he reminds us it's contagious. He says it's like a mental germ, energy, negative energy that can be caught by us if we're not connected to something greater. We can get it. We can catch it. And then we need to really work on healing ourselves and our fears so we can rise up. He says, when fear is driving our lives, we feel like we are on the back seat of a runaway driverless car with endless hazards ahead. With faith that there's something greater, something bigger, there's something more going on right now. We're in the driver's seat. We have the knowledge to know where we want to go, and we know we have the tools to get there. Now, it's not the toolbox, it's the spiritual tools we carry with us all the time. So I said, fear is the product of our identification with the material world, with the appearances, and faith is the knowing that there's something more. Ernest Holmes says, when we dwell in the presence, when we know we're standing on holy ground, right here, because spirit is everywhere, light is everywhere, goodness is everywhere if we let it seep in. If we dwell in the presence, there's no ground for fear to stand on. There's nowhere, because we're brighter and lighter than the darkness. The light always extinguishes the darkness. We need to turn it on and turn it up. We have the little rheostat, how much light we want to let in our lives and how much light we want to share. Jesus said, fear not, little flock. You know what he said. It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. It's already here. As Kathy was saying, the table is laid. It's full. We just need to accept it. And St. Paul said something, I don't know if this is where Rumi got it, but he said, don't go back to sleep. This is a time to wake up. Rumi, my beautiful 14th century boyfriend, 13th century boyfriend, mystic, Rumi said, the breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. The invisible realm of life is always wanting to speak to us. There's never a time when it's not there urging us to listen to its guidance, to its inspirations, to its creative thought and ideas. It's there for us. Its calming effect on us. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. You better say it a little louder. Because I think there's a little sleeping medicine around the world right now, and we just need to wake up and drink more coffee. You know, it's so funny. I have to tell you, this is a total bird walk, but you know, Kirk had a dream last night that he was sitting on the piano this morning and his arms wouldn't move and he couldn't play a thing. And then he made the coffee this morning, which he does every morning, and he forgot to put the coffee in the coffee pot. So we had a pot of hot water. And it kind of disconcerted him a bit. He goes, what, is this a premonition? I said, no, I think you're a little tired probably, so let's just sit down. And we did some prayer work, and we talked about what's real and right and true. And look what happened. And I got my coffee. Yay! So it's all good. It's all good. So what we need to know is if we're going to climb up that mountaintop, and I don't know how many of you are actual climbers and have all the equipment and everything, not me, but that wherever our mountaintop happens to be, it takes courage. We haven't been put here at this time in life because we don't have courage. We have courage in us. It has to be nurtured and awakened because it takes courage to tell the truth. It takes courage to be neutral and not judgy. It takes courage to change. It takes courage to reach up high when you feel like hiding under the covers. It takes courage to go to the mountaintop when you don't really know what's going to be there. And we need to develop and strengthen that courage for each other by knowing we're enough, by knowing we have what we need within, by knowing there's a bigger plan at work. We need to know that. We need to feel it. Because when we get to that mountaintop, we'll feel that connection with the divine. We'll know it in our souls. Love, which is what we always hear is the greatest power in the world, will not just be a divine concept that we say, oh, love is the greatest thing. We'll feel it and we'll know its power. We'll know that it can work. We'll have the courage to love one another, to open our hearts. We'll have the courage when we make that connection to hook on to that star, to speak with compassion, to find kindness in our words, as Reverend Janet was telling us, to have the courage to speak those words, to be those words. And we'll be able to know that wisdom is ours to share and to have. This Hafez poem is a poem that breaks me open because I think it's so beautiful. He spoke of God as my beloved. My beloved said, "My name is not complete without yours." I thought, how could a human's worth ever be so much? God, knowing all our thoughts, addressed my heart and revealed this simple truth when he sang, "I am made whole by your life. Each soul completes me." For me, the best way to hook to that star and find the mountaintop when I'm down is to keep repeating the first two lines of spiritual mind treatment. God is all there is, and I can insert good is all there is, love is all there is, peace is all there is, faith is all there is. As we conclude our wall, as they finish up with the beautiful beings, we let the beautiful energy continue to be lifted. I'm going to invite you in your own heart and mind to speak a few affirmative affirmations into this beautiful dome of love that we've created, this beautiful dome of healing that we have created. I trust the unfolding of my life. God is always for me and never against me. I am held by a love that never fails. And in that knowing and in that consciousness, if we can just lift our minds, our thoughts, our words, our spirits up and open ourselves to the greater good that is calling to us in this and every moment. If we can open up and accept the love, the light, the compassion, the kindness, the goodness, the creativity, the healing, the abundance that is all around us, in us, through us, and as us. And in recognition of the truth that we know right now and always, that life is good and so are we. That love is available and so are we. That goodness is ours right here and right now and always. And in this knowing and in this acceptance, we let our joy bubble up within us, our love bubble up within us, our light bubble up within us, that we may share the light, the goodness, the love, the joy that we are right here and right now. We release this knowing in our absolute acceptance that it is done. We say together, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you for being here and part of this good unfolding. I love you all very, very much.